Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength BodCast.
All right. Hey, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Original Strength BodCast. I am with my friend, videographer, entrepreneur, fitness enthusiast, and wild man, Jason Van Sant. Jason, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Tim, for having me. It's good to be in the OS Institute. It feels like it's been, 20 months, 2 years.
This is where it all happens, the OS Institute.
I know. I think this is the first gym that I've been in since 2020, February of 2020.
Well, this has been the season of don't go to gyms.
Yeah,
so.
I brought my mask with me.
Well, there's almost not quite 6 feet away from us, but I think we'll be okay.
We're socially distanced.
We are.
That's,
So I introduced you as Wild Man because you've done something that I thought was pretty...
Stupid?
Well, yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't say stupid, but it's interesting to me because, and this is fitting because we're at the end of the year. We are at the end of 2021 and 2022 is about to start, but you just completed a task of 100,000 swings, I think.
That is correct.
Excuse me, 100,000 kettlebell swings.
Yes. Or swing sets.
No,
Yeah, I probably did that too with my child, but...
Which actually seems less insane to me. But so I have questions. 100,000 swings in a year. First question is why?
Yeah, so this actually started in October of 2020. So I didn't start the swing session, but we did Dan John's 10,000 swing challenge. He's got something, you can find it online. But it's basically you do 10,000 swings in like 4 weeks or something like that. And so me and a couple of friends did that in October of 2020. And then we came to the end of December and my buddy Chris, who taught me kettlebells several years ago, he was the one that kind of inspired me to do this or kind of challenged me. He said, hey, my friend Joe and I are going to do 100,000 swings in 2021. Are you in? And said, yeah, why not? Absolutely, let's do it. And because 10,000 wasn't enough, we need to multiply that by 10. So starting January 1st, we started this challenge of doing 100,000 kettlebell swings by the end of the year.
All right, so that you did kind of jump on my question for you is you felt good enough after doing 10,000 swings like you needed to do another 100,000. Like, all right, so how did you feel after doing the 10,000 swing challenge?
It wasn't bad. I mean, it's tough. It's really hard. But, I had November off and first part of December off.
To forget about it. So then you
forget about it.
You thought it was a good idea to do 100,000.
And so, we're in the midst of like COVID. So any sort of like challenge I could do, fitness challenge in my garage with people remotely through text and communicating that way, sounded like fun. I was like, hey, a year-long challenge of having somebody to do a challenge with. Why not? Let's try it. And so we started in January 1st of 2021 was day one. And
so it was you and two other friends.
Yeah.
You just completed this challenge a week ago?
I completed the challenge 1 week ago, yeah. So on the 16th of December.
Did the two friends also complete the challenge too?
Yeah, so Joe is, you should have him on the podcast and call him Wild Man. He finished in August, which sounds crazy. So his son, his son is really into baseball. And so they do all this travel ball and he's gone all the time. He's like, I got to get this done before the height of fall baseball and so forth. So he mentioned to me literally every day he did 500 swings every day. He would wake up in the morning, grab his coffee, go out in the garage, do 500 swings, 25 minutes or whatever, and then go about his day.
What about the other guy?
Chris is wrapping up. So I texted with him yesterday. And Chris, unfortunately, not from kettlebell swings, but from a basketball game with his sons, injured his shoulder. Slipped and fell and injured his shoulder. So he was paused for a little while, but he, as of yesterday, which we have about a week left in 2021, he had 3,000 swings left to go. So he will make that. No problem.
I was just curious because sometimes, you get friends that they'll come up with an idea and then you'll jump in, and then they start falling off. So I was just trying to figure out how good of friends these guys were.
Yeah, this is nothing new for them. They do this stuff all the time. It's always some just bizarre challenge. Chris was a former strongman competitor, and Joe was really into strongman, and so they're always doing something that's crazy. They just decided to invite me this time, and I have not done anything quite as ambitious as a 100,000 kettlebell swing challenge. But I'm glad it's over.
So when you looked at each month, or when you approached each day, was each day the same, or did you vary the numbers? Did you have a plan? I'm only going to do, because if you did 10,000 a month, well, then that's more than 100,000. So what did your training for these swings look like?
The goal was 500 like each session, at least 500 every session. And I said, I don't want to do this every day. And I knew I was going to take some time off, and you go on vacation and you get sick or whatever, you can't go all the way through. So, 500, 5 days a week is 2,500. And that is what? I can't do the math real quick. 40 weeks or something like that. Or something. I don't know. It gives you like 2 months, 2 months off, or 3 months. But, so I went strong. The first 25,000 was easy, and it was just, you got the momentum and you're going. And then the next 25,000, was a little bit tougher, and things got busy, and, work got crazy and so forth. So I just didn't have time. I think like June, I only did like 5,000. And then it just got worse. As it went along, it actually got harder because it just got so monotonous. But so the goal was always 2,500, at least 500 every time that I trained. And if I got behind, I would do more. So the max that I did was 1,200 in one day. So that
sounds like a fun day.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fitting for how crazy and insane this was. I had gotten my my COVID shot, not to be political, but I got my COVID shot, and my arm was sore, and I was like, I bet swings would probably help this out.
So you swung it out.
So I did some swings, and I did 1,200 swings that day. It was like I was doing top of the minute, 20 swings, and then I was using a 24 kilogram bell. Top of the minute, do 20 swings, and then set it down and rest them. So it's like 1-to-1 work rest ratio. And so I did it for an hour, which was 1,200.
So for your 100,000 swings, it was always a 24K bell, or a 53-pound bell?
So mostly it was a 24 kg, yeah. But I did a variety of bells. I would go anything from a 24 to a 40. And
so the 24 was the lightest bell?
The 24 was the lightest bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's 52, 53 pounds.
52 or 53 pounds.
And then the 40K is like 88.
If I do my math right.
88 pound swings. Yeah. Now, how often did you play with that one?
So I would do the 40 kg kind of mixed in. I would do everything in between. So 24, 28, 32, 36 to 40. And I would do those together. So I would do, 20 with the 40, and then 20 with the 36, and then 20 with a 32, and so on and so forth. So I kind of mixed it in with the others. I never did a training session with the 40 by itself for 500.
Okay.
The whole challenge was kind of silly, but that would have been really silly.
Well, see, I didn't know that, and I was just thinking that you stuck with one bell the entire time. Now I think you're far beyond wild and crazy. That's. How much do you weigh?
I weigh 150 pounds.
Yeah. All right. So you said the first 25,000 were easy, and the next 25,000 were harder, and then by 75,000. So every 25,000, it seems like it's getting harder. But was it harder physically or harder mentally?
Mentally, it just got so monotonous. Of just doing swings over and over. But you get in your mind, like, I'm going to make it. And I don't know. It's like, what am I really achieving? I did measure some stats with it. I thought, just for the fun of it, I took my body fat at the beginning and then my body weight at the beginning. And I didn't really do like heart rate, but I kind of knew what my resting heart rate was. And then I measured all that at the end. But it just got so monotonous of just day in and day out. Let me go do swings. And so I would find ways. I finished the last probably 15,000 with a 24 just to get it done. So I could get more volume. And that was around the time of that I did the high volume swings just to wrap it up.
So when you discovered, let's face it. So after you do 25,000 swings and you thought that was easy, well, obviously, you can do it. So at any point you can stop, because once you know you can do it, even if you haven't done it, so why, why did you finish the 100,000 swings? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, that was you can do 25,000, so you can kind of get through it. But that to me was like, I'm a quarter of the way through the challenge. And so maybe it's part of me just like trying to keep the challenge going with the friends. But I just say, well, the goal or the challenge was 100,000. So 25,000 for me was not 100,000. So let's just keep rolling.
And how did your body fare through all of this?
My body fared okay. Like I didn't injure myself or anything like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so I would have clearly stopped, never move into pain. And so I was never painful. But I probably move the worst than I have moved in years.
What do you mean?
So, being able to get on the ground and move and roll around and was always very easy to do. And now I find myself sometimes like maybe putting my hand down to help myself get up a little bit, or maybe my knees feel a little stiff, like, just my body just feels a little stiff. Because I love kettlebell training, but you don't move when you do kettlebell training. Like you are stationary. And so when you're not moving as much, you lose it. And so that is probably the biggest takeaway for me, was why this was not the best thing, was just the ability to move every day and feel good every day. I didn't feel bad, like in pain. I just didn't feel like I was as mobile and able to move and agile as I was, a year ago when I started. So, for example, doing get-ups became a little bit harder. Just swinging the leg through just wasn't as seamless as it used to be. So I did other things, like I would do some get-ups from time to time, but it just got to the point where life just got so busy. I had other big things happening this year, so I didn't have a whole lot of time. So I tried to work in as much strength as I could, just different movements and different things, but it just didn't have the time. And I just stuck with this goal of I've got to finish this 100,000 swings. And so that became the focus, and everything else kind of got put on the back burner.
So you did somehow manage, though, to do other movements besides swings.
I did, yes.
Because 500 swings a day seems like it's going to take a chunk of time.
Yeah, it takes time. It's not as bad as you think. The bells as you.
By the way, if you're listening, I will never, ever do 500 swings a day. And if you see me do 100 swings a day, something has happened really wrong.
Yeah, but it's like anything else. When you do it every day, like the 24 kg just became such a light bell that the challenge just became, how quickly can I get these done? So it was like 25 minutes. I could get
for 500
swings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if were these hard style swings, soft style swings, Jason style swings? Like what kind of swings were you doing? And if you're listening at home, there are different ways to swing the bell.
There are definitely different ways. These were hard style swings, 2 hand, 1 hand. So I did a mix of things. But they were all hard style.
So 100,000 swings completed. When you finished, how did you feel? Like, was there a celebration? Was it euphoria, or was it just,
It really was, oh, wow, thank you, that's finished. I can be done and move on with life now. So it was kind of like okay, great, I don't have to come in here and swing bells for a long time if I don't want to.
All right, so the real question, obviously, if you show up every day or every other day and you knock out your swings and you do 100,000 swings in a year with at least a 53-pound bell, which is 30% of your body weight, and sometimes you did almost over half your body weight in the swings, did you learn anything?
I learned that as much as I enjoy kettlebell training, it is not everything. You have to make room for other things, other movements, you have to mix it up. And it's not like mix it up mean like get into like the workout mix up of things, but you've got to move your body. You have to move your body in different ways. And
so not just hinging.
Not just hinging. Yes, there are more movements. Like this is why no fitness expert has ever said you should go and do 100,000 kettlebell swings because it's stupid. And so, but that was the biggest thing for me is even if I was to do like cleans and squats and presses and so forth with a bell, I need to do more than that. The kettlebell is a fantastic tool, but it is not everything. You got to move in different ways. And I even think that in terms of, nowadays it's like every, popular thing is powerlifting and, deadlifts, and they're great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but you got to move. You have to do other things besides those things like walking. So, my challenge to myself, I haven't kind of figured out I'm going to do time-based and not distance-based, is a walking challenge, where I want to walk a specific amount by the end of the year or whatever, maybe not in the year, but just in general, wanting to have 30 minutes a day of walking or 45 minutes a day of walking. So that is to kind of maybe reset my body from the 100,000 swings to
walking should do it because it is a reset. That's the challenge I could get behind.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another question, because you've been fairly consistent in you say challenge, but you didn't say I have a goal of walking.
Yeah.
So why do you say challenge versus goal?
Yeah. So, and the walking could be a goal, right? I mean, it could be a goal to do something, 5 days a week. I view challenges and goals very differently. So if you think about a goal and we've all heard of SMART goals, and the A in SMART goals is attainable. Like the goal should be attainable. Well, a challenge is something that maybe isn't attainable. So that's where I see I differentiate between those two. So the 100,000 kettlebell swings was a challenge because I had no idea if it was attainable. Certainly I could do it with a bell lighter than a 24 and go the entire year, but I had no idea if I could do it physically or mentally, if I could just continue and sustain that. So I viewed that as a challenge. I had no idea if it was attainable or not. Walking 30 minutes a day, that's a goal to me. And it could be a challenge depending if I want to do more or less or, whatever. But that should be attainable. I know I can walk 30 minutes every day. Like I physically can do that. So I look at that as a goal, but if I'm going to challenge myself and say, okay, well, I'm going to do 30 minutes every day, I think I should be able to do that, right? But who knows? Who knows what obstacle may come in the way, that may prevent me from doing that.
So you had a support cast, you had friends. Did you need the friends to do the 100,000 swings, or would you have still done it even if they'd have dropped out?
I think, I think once I got going, I didn't need them to do the challenge, to answer your question. But I think if we had, started like they dropped out and I was the only person doing it and it was like February, like a month in, it probably would have been harder to do. Because then it's like, well, what's the point? No one else is doing this. Like the whole thing was we were going to do this, kind of just challenge each other. But if like everybody else is not doing it and you're the only person, I didn't see a reason to do 100,000 swings other than the challenge with friends. So I probably would have stopped doing it. And, but if we're in August, then I certainly would have kept going because it's like, well, I'm almost there. I'm more than halfway there. So why not continue to go?
Yeah, I was just wondering because, and again, this is a perfect time of year where people make decisions or resolutions to do something. And we all have our own issues. And some people are really good at sticking to plans. Other people are really enthusiastic about sticking to plans. And then some people, because of life and situations, they don't always stick to their plans. But some people like the support system. Some people like accountability. Some people are just self-driven and self-motivated. And others just they need the companionship along the way to help them go. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, several years ago, I was in the fitness industry. I was a kettlebell instructor and an OS. Do you call them coaches still? Are they coaches or pros, or what are your?
Yes to both of that.
Yes to both of that. Okay. I don't remember what I was. I don't know what I was.
We'll just call you a pro.
I was a pro. And so I've seen this. I've seen this trend of, New Year's resolutions in the fitness industry. And the thing that I noticed that was consistent is that most people go too broad. I'm going to exercise every day, and that's their New Year's resolution, right? Well, that gets tough to do because you get tied into this, well, what do I do? What am I going to do to exercise a day? 100,000 kettlebell swings, I knew exactly what to do. It was listed out in front of me what I needed to go do swings. I needed to do X number of swings on X number of days.
It's like time to make the donuts.
Exactly. It was monotonous, it was repetitive, but there was a plan that was, you do this every single day. Whereas I'm going to exercise every day as my New Year's resolution. Well, then part of the discouragement is like, well, what do I do? Do I run? And so you kind of get unmotivated because you don't really have a plan of what it is that you want to do. I'm going to go to the gym every day. Well, you go to the gym and it's like, oh, what do I do here? What do I
see? But to me, that's the beauty and the freedom of movement is because I don't have a plan. My plan is I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's something that feels good and that I enjoy, but I know I'm going to show up. So my plan is to show up.
Yeah.
And then whatever I do end up doing, cool. But I'm not going to I'm not going to just do nothing.
Sure.
Because I know that movement is going to make me feel better. And I like now I used to have plans, and I've dotted every I and crossed every T. And maybe that's where everyone needs to start. But I think there's eventually this place that you can get to where showing up is all you need to do, and then you just go explore and see how you feel, what you feel like, and then you do that. Or you just go on whims, as long as you do something.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I think what I was explaining is people who haven't been to the gym or who are new to working out.
Well, if you don't know anything.
That's where the New Year's resolution starts to crumble. I think, you are a wild man in yourself. You've gotten to this place where you need to have that. I've gotten to a place where I need to have that. I need to exercise. I need to do something. So we don't necessarily need a plan where we are. However, somebody who's just starting out and hasn't been in a gym in 10 years, they're probably going to need something consistent for them to do. Like they know, okay, this is what I need to do when I get into the gym. And then once they get rolling, let's say they get past March, because that's when most people quit their New Year's resolutions, is in March. They get past that and they start to build this as a habit in their life. And then they get to the point where it's like, I need to move. I need to do this. And then they don't need that plan anymore. They kind of just, as you say, explore different things or finding something that they want to do. Hear that a lot is, with training and exercise, find something that you actually enjoy doing. If you don't like going to the gym, but you love running, well, don't go to the gym and run. Do something that you enjoy doing, and you will continue to do it. If you despise something and you're just like, I hate this, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I agree with you because most people don't know what to do. I think everybody intuitively knows what to do. Like they know they need to move. They know they need to just make good decisions and good choices. But there's so much misinformation out there about how to do it. I think that's what messes everything up.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, the fitness industry is laced with, lies.
It's like, come and see me. I will fix your.
Or you got to do this to get this. You got to do
Exactly.
this to do that. And here's the absolute best way to do it. And magazines, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if people actually read magazines anymore. I don't even know if they still make magazines. But it used to be that you would be told a certain thing to get a certain result, and most of it was all hype marketing and just it was all lies.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I'm not a social media person, so I kind of miss those. Meaning I'm not really on social media, so I kind of missed all the stuff that's on social media. But I mean, that was big when I was in the industry and I kind of even fell into that a little bit, right? Early on, like when I did my kettlebell certifications, it's like, oh, kettlebells is it. This is all you ever need to do. All you need is a kettlebell. Like it will fix everything, you know? Have a head cold, do some swings.
It's great if that's all you want.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, it is, you know, but finding that thing that you enjoy, right? That will turn into, and back to going to the gym. If you don't like the gym, well, if you start doing something that you enjoy doing, chances are you will grow and you'll find other things that you'll explore, as you say, other things, and then you may explore yourself going into the gym and loving it. So my thought is really just anybody who is getting into like wanting to do something exercise, find something that you enjoy doing, that you think that you'll enjoy doing, that you'll get excited about, and go and do that as a great place to start.
Yeah, I actually think your new challenge for this coming year is probably the best place for anybody to start. I mean, walking, and it's crazy. Like, there have been these walking trends. Remember, I don't know, it was like 20, 30 years ago, it was walk 10,000 steps a day or walk 5 miles a day and it'll solve all your problems.
Yeah.
And everybody jumped on that. But then eventually that went away because it didn't solve everybody's problems. Yeah. Although I think if you'd stuck with it, you'd probably find that it would solve most of all your problems. But I think that's the best, easiest place for anybody to start. And it really is a miracle movement or a miracle starting place, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And this is why I'm going for like a time goal versus a step goal. I don't wear an Apple Watch. I used to have one and it drove me crazy.
Is that why you made fun of me when I told you I was getting an Apple Watch?
Yeah, you told me. I asked you what
my problems.
Yeah, I asked you what you were getting for Christmas, and you said an Apple Watch, and I was like, oh, okay. I just kind of chuckled under my breath. But what ended up happening is, and my in-laws are in town for the holidays, and my mother-in-law was just telling me she has a friend who is really into these steps, and they would go out to a restaurant, and like while they'd order their food, and to get to their goal, they would stand up next to the table while they're waiting for their food and start just doing steps and so forth. It's like kind of over the top with the counting steps and so forth.
Well, that's not real walking, though.
That's true, but for me, I found that paying attention to a number, like I need to get X number of steps, just was crazy. Just drove me crazy. It's like, no, why don't I?
Says the guy who did 100,000 swings.
But when I was wearing a watch, so forth, and so that's why I said, I'm going to do this as like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So I'm not keeping up with data and trying to keep up with numbers and so forth, and get obsessed about numbers like I did for the last year. I realized how unhealthy that was. And so going for time, I'm going to walk for 45 minutes, try to do that every day. And, I think that is, as you say, I mean, it is the natural reset.
So it is. And I honestly, I do a lot of online training. I program walking into everybody's programs. And to me, like for my own self, that's the one thing I try to make sure I do every day. Even if it rains, I'll walk in my house. Not to get steps in, but I believe in the movement.
Yeah. No, you're right. I started, so we have a daughter who's 5. She started kindergarten this year, and we live in a neighborhood where the school is like a half mile or something from the house. So it's awesome. We walk to school every day. We actually skip to school. So I lied. I did some different movements. So she wants to skip. So we are the father-daughter team that skips to school every day. But that walking, I remembered, like, I was like, oh, wow, this is, like, not remember, but, like, realize, like, this feels really good to move like this.
That skipping actually probably helped you survive the swing.
Yeah, it probably did. I would think that's, yeah. So, but we're now known as the people in the neighborhood who skip to school. Well,
I guess it's better than being known as the swinger.
That's true. That's true. But I tell you,
type of swing.
It is. But the goal, like, as doing that walking with my daughter is something that I'll look back in years from now and just remember, like, wow, that was awesome. And it's like the perfect excuse to do it. She has to go to school, and we live half mile, so an adult has to walk her, so I walk her. And I mean, so it's like the benefit of a natural reset and quality time with your child.
just curious, because we talked about numbers and also talked about not being into numbers, but did you do the math on the tonnage that you've swung throughout the year?
I didn't.
1,000 swings.
I didn't do the
Even
math.
if it was
on that.
only a 53 pounder,
Yeah,
it gets to be insane.
I didn't do that. Now Joe, the guys that did it with us, he tracked distance. So he said, okay, let's say that the kettlebell travels 4 feet every swing or something like that.
Is he a physicist?
He is. he is a. He does something in the medical field. Okay. So he's into numbers, and I'm not. I'm the creative guy. And so anyway, he sent this text, and it was like, hey, combined with all of us, it was something like 200 and some miles that the kettlebell traveled from our challenge combined, the 3 of us.
Wow.
And so that's the metric that we tracked with that. I did track. This is interesting. I did track body weight and body fat percentage, as I mentioned, and sort of kept up with the heart rate. Body weight dropped like 3 pounds. Not that I didn't need to lose weight. I was 151 or 152 when I started, and I think I was 149 when I finished. But interestingly enough, body fat went up 1%. And so I was 11% body fat when I started, and I was like 12 point something when I finished. So my body fat went up. I ate the same thing that I eat every day. It's, same thing. I didn't eat any differently or change anything in my diet. So that was interesting to me. So to me, I'm no, physiologist or anything like that, but that sort of indicates to me that I lost muscle doing this.
Well, I can't fully wrap my head around that, but when you were describing how your body felt throughout the challenge and the things you lost, it almost sounded like participating and completing the 100,000 swings actually aged you.
Yep.
Like it sounded like to me it accelerated an aging process.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's accurate. I definitely felt 44 this year. And so, no, I think that is right. It did. Now, that being said, I didn't really track because I didn't have a way to really track the resting heart rate. But I knew that I was always, when I did have an Apple Watch a couple of years ago, I was middle of the day, my heart rate would be somewhere in like the low 60s or something like that. And then I had a doctor's appointment recently, and they hook you up and check your blood pressure and pulse and everything. And my pulse was 52. And that's in the middle of the day, walking to, a doctor's office and,
Well, that could have been the swings.
Could have been.
Could have been your vocation change.
That's true. It could have been either
stress.
Or. Stress is
absence of stress can greatly affect your heart rate.
Well, and you think, I did mention like the mental challenge of the process. That could have been, fat producing. Like mentally, going through this challenge of doing 100,000 swings. So that could have been part of it. But yeah, there's a lot of change in our lives this year.
Awesome. So, walking's next, and are you doing mileage or just time?
Time.
All right.
Just time. Yep. So I'm ready to do something. Ready to move.
Awesome. Ready to move.
Ready to move.
Jason, thanks so much for being on the show. I was really curious as to why for the 100,000 swings, because when I do hear Dan John talk about doing 10,000 swings, I'm always like, yeah, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah, why? Why do that?
And you did it 11 times, if you count the time that...
Yes, if you count the last October, yeah. No,
Yes.
But thanks for having me. It's great to see you. It's nice to actually see a face, instead of seeing you...
like seeing faces in person.
Instead of seeing you on Zoom or FaceTime or something like that. So thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming, and thanks for bringing all your cool toys. This
is fun. This is this is something we're playing with. We're trying out, and it's a lot of fun. So thanks for participating with me.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to the Original Strength podcast, and I hope you had a wonderful 2021, no matter what happened.
Yes. Happy New Year. Here's to
But
2022.
I hope you have an even better 2022.
Move a lot.
Move a lot.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great weekend.